Hi, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas on Saturday, February the 16th, and welcome to our video commentary. Well, President Trump went ahead and signed the emergency or declared the emergency on the U.S.-Mexico border. This is now going to go in a couple of directions. The first direction, of course, is the courts. It's going to be challenged, I'm sure, and it'll go into the court system, ultimately finding its way to the Supreme Court. I don't know what's going to happen. These things are complicated and so on. But I think he's going to win in the Supreme Court because I don't know of any president who's had an emergency declaration reversed by the Supreme Court. So my guess is that he's going to win when he gets to the Supreme Court. But that's not really the issue. The issue is not the courts. Whether he wins or loses in the courts, that's not the issue. The issue is public opinion. And that's where I think this is a good move by President Trump. Because one way or the other, again, whether he loses or whether he wins in the courts, what he has done very skillfully is to put the topic of the border on the front page. And for several months, he's forcing the Democrats to say that there's not a crisis on the border. And that, I think, it's an unsustainable position for the Democrats. I know that many of them are saying that there's no crisis on the border, that this is manufactured. I don't know how anybody can say that, frankly. I don't know how anybody can say that with a straight face. Now, we can disagree on the emergency declaration. We can disagree on how long of a border fence we should have. But to say that there's no crisis, that this is a manufactured crisis, is completely insane and a totally unsustainable position for the Democrat Party. So this is why I believe that this is a good move on the part of President Trump, because he has now defined the Democrat Party as a party that does not believe that there's a crisis on the border. And again, I don't know how in the world you can come to that conclusion after seeing what we're seeing on the border with the violence and the number of people coming, the caravans, the Border Patrol agents supporting the fence. So I think the Democrats have made a big mistake here in letting President Trump define their party as a party that does not believe or does not understand that there's a crisis on the border. So what happens next? Well, we'll see. We'll see over the next few months. But I do expect public opinion to favor President Trump over the long run. And this is going to be a defining issue in 2020. The Democrats are going to have to go to all their congressional district and all their Senate elections, and they're going to have to say, I don't think there's a crisis on the border. Again, I think that's an unsustainable position, and it's going to be a very hard sale for a lot of those Democrats elected in many of these more competitive conservative districts that they picked up last November. So in the short run, this will go into the courts. What happens? I don't know. I think he's going to win, but he could lose. I mean, that's realistic. But once it goes into the court of public opinion, I think Trump is going to win because I think, again, anybody looking at the situation on the border, I don't know how anybody can say that there's not a crisis. That is simply unsustainable to keep saying that there's not a crisis. So I think President Trump will win the public opinion debate, and this is going to be, as I said before, a huge topic in the 2020 elections. I also think, I have a post coming out about this on Sunday morning, I think you're going to start seeing some Democrats back away from this position that there's not a crisis on the border, particularly the ones up for tough re-election in 2020. Thank you for watching. We have all of these on Twitter, on my blog, and on YouTube. And if today is your birthday, happy birthday. Bye-bye, everybody.